All right, all right. Let's get the party started. Another great episode of PFREI. I'm your host, Huquan Bilal, passionate for real estate investments. Oh man, I'm glad for this episode. We got a good friend of mine, Wendy Sweet. Oh man, this is great. Wendy and I, we belong to a few masterminds, and it's always an honor to be in her presence. I learned so much, humility and how to be graceful and really, moreover, constantly the thought of giving back. So we'll talk about a little bit of that. I don't know how you find the time, so I'll see if I can get your secret, but we'll talk about that. But Wendy has been, lending funds to investors since 2001, as both a conventional lender and a hard money lender. In 2008, she opted to focus on growing her hard money company, offering funds to investors who are able to navigate through the chain. Another good friend of mine has been successfully lending money in the Southeast to landlords, rehabbers, builders, and commercial investors, in addition to brokering loans for those with money to invest. Wendy and Bill now manage a real estate fund for accredited investors. Wendy also operates a subsidiary for fixing and refinancing short-term rentals, in addition to self-storage facilities. Now, Wendy has been a licensed real estate broker in both Carolinas since 1981. As an owner and a co-founder of Carolina Capital Management, Carolina Hard Money, she combines her selling knowledge with her long-time lending experience to provide first-class service to her borrowers and investors. Wendy goals for Carolina Capital Management and Carolina Hard Money are to guide like-minded individuals in building their wealth through a proven lending model, provide strong returns for real estate investors, and positively impact the lives of our clients and their families, friends, and communities. That's the first bio. I didn't screw up, by the way.
Yeah.
I hope I did good.
You always do well.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So welcome to the show. I really appreciate you being on the show today. This is great. We're going to have a lot of fun. The first question I got a lot of questions. The first one I usually ask the guests is, why are you passionate for real estate investing? I get answers for freedom, time. I actually had a friend of ours said, I'm not passionate for real estate investing. And then he went on and tell why. And that kind of threw me for a loop, but then it made sense, but go ahead. What is your passion for real estate? Why are you passionate?
Well, it's funny that you use the word passion. What's your passion for real estate? I don't know why, but every waking moment is real estate in my head. I don't care what country I'm in, city, state, country. I was over in Africa looking at huts going, I wonder how much that's worth. It's just so interesting to me. There's no top. There's also no bottom, but there's no top to it. There's nothing that can confine you in this business, in this space. It's not just dirt. It's the ability to take everything in real estate and make it match whatever trips your trigger. If you like the note space, you can deal in notes and it doesn't matter about the properties. If you love construction, then you're the person that can get in there and do rehab or build properties. If you like the chase of being a wholesaler and tracking down deals, and then within all of that, you can break it up into single family, multifamily, self-storage, mixed use, apartment complexes. It just goes on and on and on. And I've been doing this for 22 years and I learn something new every day.
Yep.
Every day.
Absolutely.
And that's what I love about it. It just keeps me on my toes. It's exciting. If you're bored in real estate, then there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, I don't know how you would get bored in real estate. There's so many challenges and pushes and pulls. And like you said, I've been in a space, the same timeline, and it's just like, wow, I never knew you can do that. Like I learned something years ago about commercial real estate investing that I didn't know. So my landlord of my office building, he goes, why are you dealing in that business? And I went through that, my passion. I love it. I like helping homeowners. And he goes, you should get into the office space. And I said, what's so good about the office space? He said, well, our turnovers are shorter because we have longer length leases. And I go, but you guys got to lay out 20, 30 grand to build the office space for somebody who's going to be here for 5 years, how do you make money? He go, well, when we get the lease for that 5 to 7 year duration, we go out and we borrow against the lease. We hypothecate the lease. And I was like, oh, wow. I didn't know that you could do that. You can take the lease for a 7-year term to the bank and borrow a percentage against that from the bank because they securitize office leases. I'm like, oh my God, it's crazy.
It is. Every time you turn around, there's something else, and you just can get deeper and deeper and deeper into it. And that's what I absolutely love about it. Now, my brother and I, we own the hard money company together and the fund, so management company, I should say. And our mother was in real estate from the time we were little kids. She was a real estate broker. And I never had any intention of getting into real estate because every single Christmas, every birthday, every Thanksgiving, she was leaving to go show somebody a house, because that's when people were able to be off work and go look at houses. So, our mother was gone, constantly going in. I thought, I'm never going to do that. And of course, I'm doing it. But the difference is I'm in charge of my schedule, not anybody else. And that's the real thing I love about this business. So many people think that, you really have to be on everybody else's schedules. And I know you've learned how to do this very well, is you have to train people to be on your schedule.
Absolutely. They have to dance to your beat. But there's a thing to that you mentioned. And I hear the time management thing, right? Because when I started off, and still sometimes I fall out of whack and got to get back on course and, try to create that counterbalance, right? Sure. There's never balance. There's always counterbalancing to kind of get mental equanimity so you can have a lifestyle business and your business is not running you and you running the business. I think that's something I always struggle with. I'll have, some equanimity and then things get pulled out of whack and then I feel myself going off and I got to get back into my routine. It's like a juggle constantly. And I guess I'm more of a boots on the ground operator, I guess with my business, your business is a little different because you guys are at the top of the pinnacle where you're lending money to the busy professionals. So you probably have a little bit more peace of mind than me, Wendy. I'm pretty sure there's some challenges, but let's talk about that now in this marketplace. I know a lot of hard money lenders, I won't say being affected because you guys are just pivoting with the market, right? I'll see that when one lender go, oh, rates up, we got to increase our rates, we got to increase our points. They still got to borrow money. It's probably slows down business of more loans. Like you hear the refinances are slowing down, laying people off. But for the hard money, let's talk about that transition that's happening with you guys right now in this market space.
Well, it's really interesting when things are crazy like they are now, completely unprecedented situation that we're in. But whenever things get tight like this, lending is tougher for people, or I should say borrowing is tougher for people because they can't get those easy bank loans, those easy DSCR loans that were out there. They're dropping like flies now. Who do they have to turn to? That's, hard money doesn't look so ugly anymore. Doesn't look so hard anymore. And a lot of people have been raising their rates and trying to keep up with those kind of things. We haven't raised our rates. What we are doing is we are being much more critical of our underwriting. And that's a really, really good way to look at it. You said that you have more time issues because of being on the rehab side. Well, on the lender side, we have to worry about whether or not people are going to pay us back because we can't lend money if we don't get it back. So we're having to underwrite it and make sure not only the deal is good, but we have to make sure that the borrower has the wherewithal to do what they say they're going to do, and then hope that everything that is out of everybody's control, like COVID or things like that, doesn't occur and change the whole picture. The supply chain and the cost of goods and all of that affect what we do. It's out of everyone's control. You can't prepare for something like that, not knowing that it's coming around the corner. So everything you do, you have to prepare for something like that. You have to have that in the back of your mind and make sure that you're only lending a certain amount. We're at 70% of what the after repaired value is. Well, that's great that you're lending on that 70%, but what is that after repaired value now that rates have gone up and everything's slowing down considerably? Even for us, when we're underwriting now, when we're pulling comps on houses, we're only going back 90 days on a comp. we won't go back any farther because the rates were different then. Things were selling quicker then. And we just want to make sure that we kind of stay on top of what's going on. So there's risk in everything you do in this business. And that's probably to me, the most fun part of this business is reducing risk. And that's really the name of the game for everybody.
Now, how are you looking at those applications when they come in? I'm just curious because what I did with some of the lenders that I work with, right? So even we're right next to New York, so we tend to get hit last with market price dropping, right? So we were up 30% above list price, and right now values are down between 10-15% in some areas, which is still above what it should be from if we're looking at 2009 and COVID didn't happen. We're still above where we were. So when I start underwriting deals now, I'm going, okay, I'm going to take 15% off the projected value. I'm going to see probably after I rehab this project in 10 months, right? 15% stress test model. My holding cost used to be a year. Now I'm doing 18 months of holding costs, right? To add that extra 6 months in there. Even if I'm going to be out for a year, I'm still putting 6 more months of holding costs. And if it still pans out to my target return, then it's a great deal for me. And as we always say, this is a market for great deals, not good deals. What are some of the things you guys looking for when they send you the deal? Because you're just looking at it from a lender perspective. What's your total loan of costs? So you're safe from what you project the value to be. Are you guys reducing those values and stress testing those values as well? If so, how?
Well, what we're doing is we've always done this. We look at everything as if we have to take it back tomorrow. And if I have to take this back tomorrow, what can I do with it? How quickly can I rent it? Used to be how quickly can I sell it? That's always on our mind. How quickly can we sell it? But really, how quickly can we rent it and what can we rent it for? Because our whole goal is to make sure that our investors are getting their return. That's the main thing, is to keep that return where it needs to be. So we have been really since 2019. And that's when everything was going crazy and everybody's riding the high and woohoo, everything's going up. We actually stopped doing loans that were not what we consider recession resistant price ranges.
I love it.
We stay in our area in the Southeast where we lend, and that's pretty much all over the Southeast. We stay where the after repaired value is about 500 or less. We know that we can, if we have to take it back, that we can rent that property and be able to pay the investors what they're supposed to get off of it. We want to make sure that it will carry itself. So worst case scenario, if we can't get rid of it, we know we're going to have to rent it. Will it be able to pay our investors what they're supposed to get in their return? That's the main thing for us. And so when everything kind of went crazy, everything stopped selling. All of these people are in these really high-end properties that they're sitting on because it was the high-end people that got hit first. And it's not that they had to reduce the prices, and some of them did. However, most of them have just been sitting on there a lot longer, which means they're paying longer or more interest payments. Well, ours is in the recession-resistant price range, and everything's still selling. And so we're sitting where all of the deals in our fund are in the recession-resistant price range. So we have a level of comfort that a lot of people in our situation don't, because they were wanting to make that money, the big money on those big deals. We also have been very, very tight on the amount of money people have in the bank when they come to take out a loan with us. That adage that says, if you don't have any money, nobody will lend you any money. And that's true. It's absolutely true. We're always more comfortable when we know that somebody has money in the bank. We don't want it. We're not trying to take it. We're not requiring that they bring that to the table, but we want to see some dry powder in their bank account. We want to make sure that they have the wherewithal to take care of those things that they're not expecting to come down the pike. And we've had a lot of crazy, unexpected things happen here lately, and it's not done. We're still going to see that coming down the pike, even as a fund manager. And this is probably that's surprised me the most. It seems to me that the passive investors are holding on to their money and not investing it at all. which is really has surprised me a lot, that I've seen a drop in people wanting to invest in any kind of fund. They're just being a lot tighter than they have been in the past. And I'm wondering how long that's going to last, because it's not good to let it sit there and earn zero.
Yeah. Did you think it's because it's fear and uncertainty in the market, or just lack of education, or a mixture of all?
I think it's all of that put together. And I mean, that's one of the things I love so much about Freedom Founders. I think, that group we're in together. I think David Phelps does a great job of, explaining the thought process. He's not giving answers. He's just, here's your thought process. Here's the things that you need to be thinking about. And, some people are choosing to live in fear, and some people are choosing to continue to move forward, not crazy, but to move forward in what they're doing and at least earn some money. I still wouldn't put it in a CD.
You just said a couple of things that really trigger some thoughts. So mindset, right? Because another group we're in together, Collective Genius, right now they're focusing on mental toughness, right? Because on the opposite side of that, where you have the active investor who business is slowing down, and it's not, especially the wholesaler guy who's used to things flying off the shelf, and now that end user is not buying because hard money lenders, the capital cost of capital is more, and that drives the bus. So everything is slowing down, and they're going, holy crap, what do? I didn't anticipate this, right? I didn't plan to fail, right? You have to plan to fail, by the way, right? So people who didn't do that is now, the mental part is where the challenge is coming in at. So speaking of that, the fear, the I don't want to use the word ignorance, but just not knowing what to expect and just letting things play out instead of getting on the forefront, right? And really taking action and aligning yourself with people who have been market cycle tested. I think these are the individuals like you and I who've been in the space and been through 2000, 9/11, 2008, who kind of really went through those battle scars, and plus COVID, right? When COVID came, we had to adjust the business model and still operating like it's just COVID, like it's still COVID, right? So I think for most of the new operators, they'll get through it, and they'll build some mental toughness, and adversities bring growth for everybody. Let's make a pivot for a minute, because I know you're doing a lot of things too. With you have people you're teaching, and the give back part is one that I wanted to touch on in this interview also. The Wednesdays with Wendy's or something like that. Are you still doing that give back and giving your time, which is the most precious thing that you can do to help people and uplift people to learn? Let's talk about that a little bit, and what's the mindset behind that?
Well, I stole the idea from someone else. I just thought it was such a wonderful idea. I know that you experienced this, that, hey, let's get a cup of coffee, or can I take you to lunch? Or, and I want to help people. I mean, I didn't get here by just complete failure. I actually had people teach me too. and I'm so grateful for that. And I want to give back and help other people be successful. I mean, that's the name of the game. I'd get so much excitement out of seeing someone that is stuck in that job, and all they want is to leave it and be able to become a full-time investor. There's nothing more exciting than to watch somebody do that. And it, doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, but to watch them do it, it's just so exciting. And I love if I'm a little tiny part of that in helping them get to that. So I would love to go out and have a cup of coffee and have lunch, but I'd never get any work done if that's all I was doing.
let me pick your brain.
That's exactly.
Let me buy you a cup of coffee and pick your brain. I'd be like, what? Pick my brain? That doesn't even sound right.
Larry Goins and I used to have a podcast called Pick a Pro, Brain Pick a Pro. That was it. Brain Pick a Pro. But the whole thing is I thought that what I can do is I'll take 4 hours every Wednesday, turn them into 30-minute segments, put them on a calendar, and people can just book. So every 30 minutes, I've got a new person. And I've been doing it. I'm almost on 3 years now. I'm usually booked out a couple months ahead. And then I've got to be really on top of it. If I'm out of town that week, I have to block that Wednesday or whatever it is that's going on. But it's funny what, everybody says, oh, that's so kind of you to do that. What a great thing. I'll tell you what, it feeds me like you would not believe. And it's usually that Wednesday where I'm thinking, man, why am I doing this? I don't have time for this. I'm sick and tired of doing this. You always get to that point where you're just fed up with it. It turns out to be the best day I ever have.
It's the give, right? That's the fulfillment that's coming, right? So that's what makes you the whole.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. And the other thing too is, I get people of all different kinds of experience and investing level and just every kind of background you can imagine. And we talk about everything. Sometimes it's just a Jesus fest the whole time. It's really cool to have, all of these different conversations. But what's really cool is that I learned something from every person I talk to. Every single person, whether they're brand new or they've been doing this forever. And I love that I learned something. And here's what else I've done is I've recorded almost every one of them. I see a book in the future.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I mean, what a great book that would be, to just split it all up into different topics. And, I wouldn't put people's names in it, but to be able to, have all of these questions and ideas all in one spot. I just to be able to share it, I think is really, really cool. So I love doing that a whole lot.
I see it now. Wednesdays with Wendy's FAQs. They can go to a website and put in a keyword, it'll bring it up.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
I see it already.
The other thing I do is I've been leading a group for 20 years, a little over 20 years now, called Sunrisers. It's SON. It's a faith-based real estate group. We started meeting for breakfast at 7:30 every Friday morning in Charlotte. And, started out with 5 people and it got to 10 people. And COVID forced us inside. And we were probably, on Zoom, I should say. It forced us on Zoom. But pre-COVID, we were probably getting, 40, 45 people at breakfast. And it's great. So we started off with a 10-minute devotional, and then we talk about real estate. I'd bring in a speaker, or we'd have a powwow and free-for-all talk. Now it's on Zoom, and there are people from all over the country that attend. I'll have anywhere from 50 to 70 people. And now my speakers are people like you, people that I get to meet in all of these great masterminds that I'm involved in. So the education in that little group has just exploded. And that's been my favorite ride. I love that group, and everybody that comes to it is just blown away by the people that are in there. And that's what it is. It's the people that it attracts and how they lift each other up and encourage each other. And they do business together. And it's just really, really cool. I love it, love it, love it.
That's awesome. Those are 2 great gives. And that's how the world go around, right? Reciprocity kicks in, you give, and, you want love, you have to give love, they say. So yeah, that's, let's talk about now some social media handles and some places where they can find you guys. I know you guys have the show on YouTube. We didn't get a chance to mention that. If you want to shout that real quick, where people can find you guys. I'm on those shows that you and Bill did. I've been on a few of them. There is really great content. You guys definitely get a chance to check it out. I really, really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing value as always. Always love to be in your presence. And I'm looking forward to the next time we meet up again. So yeah, just give drop a couple of social media handles and also that YouTube show as well, where people can find you guys.
Well, I'll tell you the best way to get, excuse me, just getting over a cold. Best way to get on Sunrisers or on Wednesdays with Wendy, they can text to the number 803-653-6868. And for Sunrisers, you just spell Sunrisers in all caps, SONRISERS. And for Wednesdays with Wendy, it's all capitals, WWW. You can text to either one of them. It'll get you signed up for it.
I love that. WWW. Wednesdays with Wendy. Guys, be sure to check them out. Carolina Capital Management, Carolina Hard Money. You forgot the show with that you and Bill do.
Yeah. So the show, if you actually just go to our website, you can get right on it. It's Gosh, I wish, it's sad. I don't even remember the name. We've changed it so many times. But if you go to carolinahardmoney.com, we've got a resources page there that has all of that on there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks again. I really appreciate you coming to the show. Another great episode, guys. PFREI. I'm your host, Fuquan Bilal. Be sure to check us out on YouTube and all the other social media handles where you can find iTunes podcasts and all that great stuff. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll be sure to bring more value. Appreciate it, Wendy.
Thank you.